Hello, all you creeps, and welcome back to another episode of the Devil's Cut Podcast, our haunted home where we show our undying love for all the things that come from the stars. If it's horrifying, horrific, terrifying, or terrific, we're here to talk about it. I'm your host, Matt Young, and here with me, as always, is my co-host,
Eric Rossi.
Proof 1 and Proof 2 that maybe there isn't intelligent life in the universe after all.
Proof 1 and Proof 2 that maybe a franchise does need 6 movies to get really good.
Hey, this franchise got better before 6.
Fair.
In fact, it started high, dipped real low, and then
We're on the upswing.
had a strong comeback. How are we doing this morning, Eric?
I'm feeling good. I can feel the breeze in the air. It's October is fully upon us.
Yeah, kinda. This is Georgia October, so it's not quite as satisfying yet. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been getting up in the morning to go to work, and it has been cold.
Nice.
It's been cold out there.
We love it. So we are here. So this is our first October episode.
No, the other one was an October episode. The Substance came out last week.
Oh yeah, but we technically recorded it right.
Oh,
not in
fair.
October. It was like we recorded it on like the dying days of
Sure,
September.
this is our first October recording.
Yeah. Now that we get the October chill in the air, it's our first one. And it's chilly, like the cold vacuum of space. Just trying to make as many space connections as I can. Today we're talking about VHS Beyond. This is a new installment in the long-running now series of VHS horror movies.
The anthology horror franchise.
Mm-hmm. And for the past few years, they have been sort of like, I think Shudder essentially is like responsible for like reviving this. At least they host them, each time a new one comes out. And so it started with, what was it? So VHS 84.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was VHS 94.
94, and then they went back
to 84. And then they did VHS 99 last year.
Yes.
And now, so we did like kind of like a year-based series, but now we've moved on to something. Now it's like full genre aesthetics for this new one. So
Which seems like the natural progression. You know what I mean? Like VHS technology exists in a very small vacuum when you start looking at like years. So like once you've done like a couple time frames, it's like, all right, well now we gotta look at like what else we can do with VHS.
True. And this movie plays with things a little bit. So this one is VHS Beyond. So this one sort of takes the VHS style, but gives the directors the sci-fi alien area or play space to work within. Not that I don't remember every segment of every VHS movie, but I want to say there's really not a lot of sci-fi or alien-based ones. I don't know if there's any alien ones in any of the other VHS movies.
I think there is a few sci-fi ones if you like want to look at like body horror stuff.
I would say the only real sci-fi one that stands out to me is, I think it was in VHS 80, VHS 94. The one where I think it was a Korean one, a Korean director where the guy
turned into a robot,
turned into a Terminator in like the most unsanitary like Freddy Krueger boiler room.
And he stuck the
facility.
camera on that girl's head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where there's just the top half of her head was a camera.
Yeah,
that was wild.
That one was nasty.
But that one's very sci-fi. That one would have fit perfect in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't really remember any other ones that were straight up like, oh, this one's aliens, or I think the robot one is one of the few that I remember thinking like, oh, this is like a different. That's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, off the top of my head, there's none that feel like straight up like, oh, we're doing sci-fi.
I think maybe the very first segment of the very first VHS movie, the succubus one, not really alien or sci-fi, but kind of, I don't know.
I think it's more cryptid-y.
Like fit. Yeah, but I feel like cryptids are closer to sci-fi than
fair.
Like
than demons
and ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like for modern stuff, you have like cryptids and you have like creepypastas. And I feel like creepypastas tend to be more like supernatural and ghosty, and then cryptids are more like sci-fi.
Which one had the overarching video plot where they were like hypnotizing the cult with the VHS tapes? Also, what are we talking about? Because that one, the gloopy kid was super sci-fi.
Oh, I forgot about the Gloopy Kid.
We did this last night. Was that 94 or was that 84?
I think it was 84.
84.
Either way, yeah, you are right.
The
But,
Gloopy Kid. Yeah.
but that's in the modern age too. I don't remember which one was the cult. I think that was 2.
Where it was like the police sting on like the coal facility.
It was either the first or the second one. I don't remember. But anyway, I mean, so I guess a little bit of background so the VHS movies are a series of
Anthology.
It's an anthology movie. Each movie is an anthology. They get a bunch of horror directors or just directors in general who some of them their first experience with horror was the VHS projects.
It shows on some.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty rough.
That reads.
And each movie is based around the found footage hook. So there's usually like a through line story where somebody or a group of people or maybe like police have like broken into a place. Basically, a group of people find a bunch of VHS tapes that start playing, and each segment is one of those tapes. And then by the end of the movie, there's like been a through line story happening, on the outside of it all, and usually everybody dies, right? Something bad happens to everybody, as it would.
Usually, it culminates in something interesting,
or not. Sometimes it really does.
Sometimes it's a letdown, but I feel like the past couple have been relatively pretty fucking good.
Yes, for sure. The newer Shudder age of VHS movies has, I mean, without a doubt, been like the best part. Like even the first VHS movie, which is really good, is like nothing compared to any of the new ones.
No,
I don't think.
No.
Which I think the original director of like the first VHS movies, what was his name? I don't know if it was I don't know if that was the original director, but I know Justin Martinez, one of the guys who did one of the segments in this one, worked on like the original VHS.
He been around?
Yeah, so he's been around for a while. But yes, so the I'd say the modern VHSs are like the strongest ones. Do you have like a favorite segment from like what would you say is your favorite segment from ones that aren't this movie?
I'm a big fan of the overarching one from, I think it's 99. With
the 99 and 94 ones are confused. The naming convention is confusing me.
That one, there's one, there's a bit from the 84 one where a girl is like setting up for a viewing.
Oh,
and like no one, like one dude shows up to the viewing and no one else shows up, and there's like a big tornado on the way, and the like corpse comes to life, and she's trying to like outrun the corpse.
But she's stuck in like one little room.
Yeah,
that one's really really cool. That was from 94.
That was 94. I had that one.
That was the same one that had Hail Ratma.
I mean, Ratma is like undeniably one of the best shorts as well.
94 kicks ass because that's the one that also has the like MAGA cult that's like trying to do domestic terrorism with vampires.
Yeah, fuck. I always forget about that one, but that one is so good where they're like, if we bring the vampires out into the sun, they fucking explode.
They explode like like a mountain of C4. It's crazy.
So they've been harnessing all the fucking vampire blood to do domestic terrorism
it's
with.
So good. It's
that's
so
a
good.
fucking genius plot.
You know what? I will say, just to throw it back to the original one and talk about that succubus one again. That one is the very first segment of the very first VHS movie, and honestly, it's the best one. The rest of the movies, they should have saved it for last because the rest of that movie's downhill. Even though it's pretty good overall, it's just like none of them are nearly as good as that one.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
It was so good, it got its own feature. They turned it into a feature-length movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I forget what it's called. I'll look it up later. And
you gotta show me that. I didn't know that at all. I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, I think that same actress, they bring her back to play.
Oh, sick.
So that one was so good, it got turned into its own separate movie. Yeah, and there's so many other segments from a lot of the earlier ones that to me they were like pretty forgettable, so I don't remember a lot of them. I gotta watch Dead Meat on YouTube has been doing a kill count series for all the VHS movies, so we can always go
back in,
poke back in there and see what they've been doing. But today we are talking about the newest one, VHS Beyond, and there's some heaters in this one, man.
Yeah, I'd say strongest showing. I'd say most consistently strong showing of all the VHSs. I'm very excited to see what they do next with the franchise after putting out one that is like, oh shit, this might be like at least A- across the board for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so the through line, the connective tissue of this movie is less like a.
Are we in spoilers? Should we tell them? To go watch it first?
Yeah, go watch it.
Obviously,
but we can't really. I mean,
it's on Shudder. Easy to find.
It's super easy to get access to, and it's kind of going to be kind of hard to discuss this movie because it's split up into so many little things to I think it's instant spoiler territory. But I mean, honestly, the fun thing is like, even if you know it's not like there's any like huge like twists and turns and like big like, I feel like this one, hearing about them might make you just want to go watch them to be like, whoa, what was that like?
Yeah,
you know. And so like the connective tissue of this one, again, spoiler territory now, is less of like a like found footage story and more of like a like
it's
UFO,
like a very modern style UFO documentary.
Yeah, like a History Channel.
There's a guy.
Alien.
There's a
encounter. What do they call that? What's that one with?
Are you talking about Ancient Aliens?
Ancient Aliens.
No, it's not like Ancient Alien style. There's a guy. He's Zach something, not Zach Baggins.
Galifianakis.
No, there's this guy. He does specifically like alien documentaries, and he does like a very hyper like modern approach to them, and it reminds me exactly like his documentaries. I just cannot. I was looking for his name earlier, couldn't find it fucking anywhere. But there's a dude. He's made a couple documentaries. He did one on like implants. That's pretty interesting, of like people were like, I have an alien implant in me, and then they take this metal out of them, and then the doctors test it, and they're like, we don't know what the fuck this is.
But you know what? That's the fun thing about alien stuff, is it's always like, yeah, it could be aliens, but like people get into weird shit.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you don't know, like we don't know what they were doing. Sometimes people just end up in funny situations as nothing to do with aliens, but you could write it off that way.
Yeah, it's a documentary style kind of situation where we're interviewing a few different parties about a set of VHS tapes that were found called Proof 1 and Proof 2. Proof 1 and Proof 2 are videos that were filmed from two separate POVs of this man who's experiencing like night terrors while he was trying to get ready to sell like an estate that his parents had owned. And his son and him were experiencing these night terrors, so they finally set up cameras because they were like, no one is going to believe what we're going through. Let's get some video footage. And then it's kind of just like the overarching plot is just interviews of people talking about what is on the tapes.
Yeah.
And then eventually they bring in apparently like an actual like YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I don't know about these guys, so you got to tell me about these guys.
Oh, you don't know? Yeah. This was actually the one part of the movie that I was like not as like super jazzed about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Corridor Crew is the name of the channel. They're sort of like they're a special effects team.
Mm-hmm.
But their YouTube channel is sort of trying to give you like a little behind the scenes, like peek into like how like special effects like actually works and like the process and stuff. So like, okay. I remember back in the day they did one of like when I first started watching them, they did a funny video where they were like, they took like the opening fight scene from, I think it was the second Captain America movie.
Okay.
And they were like, what if Captain America just like killed everybody? Like, what if it was like really, what if like there was appropriate blood for what Captain America is doing to these people? So they like edited in, like he was like cutting people in half with the shield and there was like blood and gore all over the place. They just like spliced it all in. Yeah. So they bring in like specialists and they they just give you like a more personal like peek behind the curtain, you know, in terms of special effects. My problem with them is that they've gone like really big into like promoting how cool AI is.
Oh,
stuff.
boo.
Yeah, so,
Boo, I take back all the good things I said.
yeah,
Boo.
they were cool, but then they kind of like, and then they're kind of wieners.
Wieners. Boo. Fuck them to death.
So I was like, oh, they're getting too much screen time.
That sucks.
It is
But
cool
it
that
is-
they incorporated like
yeah.
a real life, you know, like,
They're kind of brought on as like experts to help debunk the video in a way of like, hey, you guys know special effects. Like, tell us what you see here that's fake, which is cool. Which is like a good plot device, even if like they're wieners.
yeah.
Plot device wise, pretty good.
There are 5 short films in between.
Yes, 5. Yeah.
Interesting thing about the through line story though, what is it called?
Oh, no, it's only 4.
Either way, what is it that it's called? Like the through line bit is called abduction adduction is the name of it. This part was directed by Jay Cheel, who wrote and directed the Cursed Films docuseries on Shudder.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, and so he has experience. He's also done a couple other mockumentary type stuff. So he was like primed and ready to do this faux documentary style, which I thought was pretty funny. And you know, I'd say there's like mild payoff.
Yeah,
for this story. At the end, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be because I feel like the last VHS had a really big fucking like show-stopping finisher. It was like a pretty big deal with that fucking gloopy kid.
Yes, totally. You mean the last VHS movie?
Well, I mean like the last few VHS movies have had like a very big deal finisher, and this one had a very much like, and that's it.
Yeah, and then we're done. So
but I mean that leaves room for all these fucking awesome short stories.
Really, it's super true. So from the Jay Cheel's abduction adduction intro, we go right into the first short, which is called Stork.
Woo!
And I'm just gonna I think I'm gonna call it early and say this one's my favorite.
I mean, it makes sense. Everything about you makes me believe that this would be your favorite.
So this one is Stork is about a group of like rogue police officers who have sort of formed their own like Winchester Brothers style like monster hunting team. called Warden with periods. You know, it's like an acronym.
Yeah.
So, but we don't ever find out what that stands for. We just see some papers that say it, which is like if you're forming a secret supernatural hunting team, you can't have all these folders.
You can't have fucking letterhead.
There's only 5 people. You don't need files
you don't need
about
custom
your
letterhead. What are you doing?
But anyways, it's about this like group of rogue police officers. This team they form called Warden. And they go around and they, on their off-duty hours, hunt monsters and supernatural phenomena. In the particular case of this short, they are investigating a series of infant abductions, not even child, infant abductions.
Baby.
And it seems like one of the officers is like directly like it seems to imply that one of the officers' own baby was
this
one
guy
of the kidnapped.
E.T.
Which is I was like,
name.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, his name is E.T. and one of his kids has gone missing, and they believe that it's because of this like monster.
Yeah, there's a bit later where they're in the house shooting a bunch of aliens, and they tell E.T. that there's something on his left, but I thought they were calling the aliens E.T.s as like that's their like bogey term for them.
E.T. on your
left. I was cracking up because I thought that's what they were like doing. I was like, oh no, his name is
his name. That'll be his moniker.
But yeah, so the viewpoint of the story is from a police body cam attached to like a new recruit, like a guy that they're letting in. They need some new blood, right? So they're letting this guy in, and the whole, instead of being like a handheld like shitty VHS camera, it's like this fucking like crisp HD body cam, which was one slight deviation from the typical VHS movie formula, because that also sets it apart like year wise.
Yeah.
In this movie,
Well, he does have a handheld cam, but it is also mostly told through like a body cam attached to them.
It's kind of like a lot of the short is sort of hardcore Henry style, where it's like first person shooter, you know?
Yeah.
Where all you're seeing is just like the hands and the gun, just because this one is super action packed. This movie opens up with like a real
impressively stunt packed. I was surprised by how many stunts they were doing in a fucking VHS short. I was like, yo.
And it's very, very competent.
Yeah, it's really good. It looks sick.
Sometimes a lot of the VHS shorts from older movies, and I mean, this is a more modern one too, so that helps. You know, there's a lot of lessons that were learned, but a lot of the older ones you can really feel the sort of like homegrown energy coming through. But this one felt like very professional, which, you know, might take away from it if it was a different story or something. But I don't know, something about it all really worked for me. So Stork, this was directed by Jordan Downey, who apparently was a Wes Craven apprentice.
Oh,
so he's got some good horror blood in his veins. But but you might actually think he's a Wes Craven apprentice. So that's good.
No,
positive.
We're backpedaling.
Can you take a guess what movie series this guy is famous for writing and directing? I'll give you a
Wes Craven attached?
No.
Oh no.
I'll give you a hint. It is directly tied to a holiday.
Directly tied to a holiday.
And it's not Halloween.
Is it the mean one?
No, but it is in that vein. So Jordan Downey is the one who gave us the Thanksgiving movies.
Oh, with the turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Now I'm coming back around on him.
With
You're
killer
scaring
turkey.
me off with all this.
Hey,
preamble.
some people don't fuck with the turkey. All right.
Yeah. Well, some people are dumb.
Yeah. So he's the one who brought us all of the. I think there's 3 Thanksgiving movies.
Oh, I'll find out next month. But I'd say we have a bigger, visual influence who's responsible for this. No.
Oh, yeah. I forget the artist. So there's an artist. You can find him online if you search. You can find his art station. His name is Oleg Vidovenko.
Great job.
Vidovenko, whatever. And yeah, you can find his art station. It is just jam-packed with all sorts of fucked up, like weird looking creatures and aliens and mutants and stuff. It's honestly, it's so good. Essentially, what this movie is just the realized into film version of what is essentially a storyboard. This movie is like shot for shot the storyboards that he had laid out on his art station.
I would go as far as to say is this short is like 90% this artist's vision, and then everybody just came together around it and made it real. It seems
the fact that the final reveal of the creature is exactly what this guy drew, extremely rare in any movie.
Yeah,
any Hollywood, whatever, no matter what rung of the ladder you are in Hollywood, when an artist draws something cool, it almost never gets to be the cool thing on screen.
Yeah, it always gets like dumbed down a little bit or like kind of like smoothed over a little bit. No, this guy's art is literally jumping off camera. It's gorgeous.
It looks so good, and in the movie it looks so good. So,
and it kind of to me, once we were looking through his art station, I was like realizing why the short felt the way it did. Because like every single shot in the short is like leading up to what is essentially a screenshot of the art that this guy has made. And it does. There are times in it where I felt like I said when we were watching, it felt like I was in a on rail arcade shooter.
Yeah, like House of the Dead.
shit like that. Yeah, where you have people who are running in front of your POV and they're screaming things at you and they're like, oh, there's a guy over here, let me shoot him.
Mhm.
And there's a guy over there, let me shoot. Okay, we're gonna run into this room. Come on. And then you move into the next room and then there's like another, shootout. And then you move into another room and there's another shootout.
Yep.
But it is surprisingly well paced for that style as well.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly, it's so well done that the action is well choreographed and the whole short flows really well. All the characters, they're all cartoons, but when you're only working with like 20 minutes, you kind of have to really characterize a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So like, you've got the weird like cigar chomping sergeant, and you've got like the new guy that I'll call him Body Bag throughout the short, which I thought was very funny.
Oh, the rookie, yeah,
Yeah, you've got you got the hot-headed jockey police officer who's just ready to fly off the handle. You got the female cop, and then
she's the tough female.
She is the tough female. You have to be.
I was laughing because I recognized the sergeant's voice, and I was trying to figure out what I had seen him in.
That's crazy. You're always able to recognize. I'm terrible at recognizing voices.
I'm just there's audio stuff. I'm like really good at like just memorizing voices and sounds inexplicably. I have no reasoning, but
the only time I'm ever able to like recognize a voice is like when Piccolo shows up in another anime,
But I found out he had done a bunch of voices for like the earlier Call of Duty games.
Oh, that makes sense.
He was like a bunch of voices in like the Black Ops.
The way he was barking out orders and stuff, totally tracks.
Yeah, that's James C. Burns.
Nice. Yeah, so basically this short culminates. So the group, this group of cops, Warden, right? They track down where all these baby disappearances have led them, and it's this old house that I guess would have to at least be 3 stories, but during the course of the short, it seems like they go upstairs about 100 times. But they fight their way through this house filled with what at first seems like zombies, right? They're
kind of zombie-ish, yeah.
They've got black veins and like pale eyes, and they look like they've got some sort of infection, but they're all wearing these like band-aids on their heads. And then eventually you come to find out they kill one and they take the band-aid off, and these people don't have brains. Their head is completely empty, which is like, oh, and the shot is really cool. You get like the camera goes like, looks real close into the hole, and it's just like this empty inside the skull shot. And what we find out is the
very creative shot.
Yes, it's really good. Everything about this one is really good. And basically what we find out is they find like a meteor, right, that has like crashed into the house, which presumably like had this alien riding inside of it. And the alien, the big reveal at the end, is this like
long neck big bird.
It's essentially Big Bird. Yeah, it's like a featherless Big Bird. He's got it's
gray and fleshy and
got this
gross.
Long beak, these tiny like stumpy legs, these long arms, and it's huge. It's like way bigger than them. And it's like basically what it's been doing is woodpeckering out like people's brains so that it can baby bird feed these babies and then like mutate them into other
like bird babies. Yeah.
Because we get a shot of like one of the babies got like I made the joke when we were watching it. It looks like Beak from X-Men.
Yeah, it's more bird than baby almost.
And then eventually, they just like blow it to pieces.
It's funny. It reminded me of like how hummingbird tongues work. Did you know this? The hummingbird's tongue is actually so long that when it's retracted into its body, it partially curls around its own brain.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Isn't nature funny?
Nature's crazy.
Imagine if we had something like that.
No, I don't want it.
Something weird.
Gross.
Like, that's also like, how like frogs, they swallow they push their food down with their eyeballs.
Oh yeah.
It's like a weird using like you're seeing things also to swallow, which is like a whole separate process. It's so weird. It's like, hey, here's your tongue, but maybe just wrap it around
maybe
your brain while you're keeping it in. Like, why not?
just keep it warm.
Nature's fucking fucked up, man.
Yeah, but they have.
We don't need aliens. Nature's fucking weird as it is.
I would love for the next VHS to just be like an all in nature one. That'd be
all
cool.
weird things that animals do.
But yeah, they have this really pretty gratuitous and insane standoff with the like giant bird monster, and just fucking pump like
they light it up, dude. But
it's like the fucking scene out of Predator where they light up the bush. They just like dump like magazine after magazine into this bird.
Yeah, the bird doesn't really get to do much. It kills like one guy, like pecks another in like the stomach. But
it is cool.
But the reveal is so good. It looks so good that it's like I don't even need it to do anything. Like it's again, it's a short. I'm not expecting like. Honestly, if there was more budget, it probably would have gotten worse, and they would have done something stupid with it. So it just the reveal is so awesome. It looks so cool. I was just so stoked. All these new VHS movies, they always start with like a real banger creature. Like the first 94 had Ratma in it, which is like about a reporter goes to like the sewers to like get a scoop on something, and she ends up like finding like this cult of sewer people that like are sacrificing people to this like rat god that has like this long xenomorph rat head. And I'm like, every time they give me like a funny little guy, And
I mean, everyone who's been listening to the podcast long enough knows one of Matt's favorite subgenres is the oh, wait a minute, this is a monster movie.
Yes, I love a surprise
monster movie.
Sneak 'em in monster,
Yeah.
So when we get this bird reveal, I was like, oh, I was just very excited. But yeah, so that's the first one. That's Stork. Also, great little short name. Very
Fantastic.
Good. Really good job.
Again, comes straight from the artist. His like final image on his workstation for this series is just like all of the cops kind of standing circled up and shooting, and it just says Stork at the bottom.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. On to the second short. The second one is called Dream Girl, and this is directed by Virat Pal. This is a decidedly very Indian,
very Bollywood
one. Yes. So basically, what we have here, this is about a pair of paparazzi in India who are trying to get, their next like, scoop or photos, so that they can, make some scratch and survive. And they break into like the trailer of this like, famous Bollywood star, this like new,
some starlet,
this new it girl.
Yeah.
Right? And
That'd be the dream girl.
Yeah, the dream girl. And so they break in to try and get some inside footage and get a little bit more than they bargained for. This one, probably my least favorite.
I would say this to me was like your more baseline VHS
quality one.
Yeah, where it's not bad. It's still pretty good. It's just that the other ones around it, I think, are so outstanding.
Yeah, the rest of this movie is each one is doing something so interesting that this one's just a little basic.
And there's a lot of dancing.
I actually liked
that music
part.
Video. I liked it too. It's just to me like we had way more of that, and I would have liked way more of like the horror side of things. It tends to drag its feet as far as getting up and going.
I did like the whole also this movie or this short does a little bit of a maybe kind of bad, maybe okay thing that some of the VHS shorts do, where they abandon the handheld aspect.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we'll cut between like the camera that one of our paparazzi is holding, and then we'll cut to like the studio camera of like during
the music video that they're filming.
When they're filming the music video, it cuts to that, and it's like this high quality like studio camera. And there's like one VHS movie that has a short in it where like the directors they didn't do any handheld camera stuff. They were like, no, this one's just we're just doing a regular movie. And they're like, well, then why are you part of this?
Like, oh, okay, you didn't understand the assignment at all.
Yeah. So, but it works in the case of this movie or this short because you have the two different cameras and it bounces back and forth. And during the climax, I think it works because then you can get some clear shots of like the creature and the horror, and then you still get your like your up close but like handheld like camera where it's like you can't get a fucking still shot to save your life, and you're like, can you just stop
all over?
Can you stop running around so I can look at it? You get. So you get a little bit of both, which is cool. Yeah, again, this one's not bad. It's just not that like it didn't do anything that I thought like, oh, that's new. You know?
We're not revolutionizing anything in this segment of the VHS, but it was really cool to see like this fun like behind the scenes like Bollywood music video being shot. That was fun.
Well, yeah, I love Bollywood music and videos, especially like lately. I've been watching a lot of like not a lot, but. And they're not even really like Indian movies or Bollywood movies because they're super Americanized. But like we watched like Monkey Man, and then I watched that Kill movie. So I'm watching a lot of like Indian action movies and like getting more experience with.
Did you see RRR?
I did. That one is also very good. Okay. Indian action movies are like they do some crazy stuff.
Good for them.
But yeah, like so this one definitely it's like really interesting. Visually, it's cool to see horror just in a different place too.
Yeah.
Basically what happens here is so you have these two paparazzi, right? And they like there's this dream girl, I forget her name. You have this like new starlet that they're like kind of like trying to get some pictures of, and they break into her trailer right as she's like being like berated by her manager. Yeah, they basically like the music video is being like filmed and then they stop because the guy's like she's tired, she's all fucked up, like we gotta take a break, and so like during that break they like go back to her trailer and he gives her this whole spiel about like how she's got to the reason why she's famous is because she works really hard for like no money. And I'm like, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, you don't need that manager. He's a piece of shit. He shouldn't abuse you like that. Like my income, his income, and everyone else's income here is all based around you. Like you're the goddess. Like you don't need anyone to tell you what to do. Like you can do your own thing, and it like breaks her brain.
Yeah, so basically what we find out is like this starlet is actually like a android.
Yeah, some sort of robot mix.
Yeah, because like the one guy who's the paparazzi who's like hiding in like her closet, he like puts his hand down and like it's covered in goop, and then he looks and there's like this bowl with a face in it, and it's like her like over the robot shell like face that she like a spare one that she would
like
put on.
Second skin, yeah.
And so yeah, so essentially like she gets yelled at by her manager, who's just like, you're only good because you work hard for no money. Like I guess a robot would.
Yeah.
And and then he leaves, and then the guy comes out, doesn't realize she's a robot yet, right? And like you said, gives her the spiel about how she's like this goddess and how like everybody worships her and she's like the best, and how she doesn't have to listen to anybody. Basically, he like gives her like he like deletes her like iRobot directives, right?
Yeah.
Like don't hurt people, like he like overrides it just by like giving her confidence.
Yeah, just by giving her like confidence and a compliment, he like completely fucking frees her from her like mechanical prison, and she's like, oh, you're right, I'm in charge.
It feels kind of like a mix between reprogramming a robot and like freeing a genie from its lamp, one of those things. Like it's kind of like it feels like halfway in between like saying the right thing to a Jinn so now it can fuck you up, and then also like unshackling AI and letting it run rampant. And then it's this is my one gripe is like this guy freed the robot. I would assume you would think that like the one guy that would be spared would be like, well, you know what, I'm gonna kill all humanity, but like you let me free, so I'll you get to live. But no, she actually rips that guy's face off by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's so funny. She tells him when she meets him like, oh, You have such a beautiful face.
Yeah, she's like, I just want to be normal, like, you know, and he's like, wow, you're so beautiful. And she's like, no, I actually, like, your face is pretty good, though. And then at the end of it, she ends up, like, peeling it off. And yeah, basically, from here on out, though, like, the robot goes on a rampage and, like, wipes out and kills everybody in the studio. People are running around, music's going crazy. And if you have epilepsy, you can't watch this even a little bit.
No.
Because
No, you're going to want to
The
fast
lights-
forward through this
the
one.
lights are going nuts in this one. There's some good gore here and there, but it's a little like it's got that shaky cam. The found footage part of it is like really rough, where you can't tell almost at all what the fuck's going on. You kind of rely on that studio camera, like still footage every once in a while to be like, where even are we? I think the choreography and like the camera work is a little rough in this segment, which is another reason why it like just didn't feel like my favorite.
Yeah.
But still, like you said, still good. One of these shorts has to be the worst.
Yeah.
Like to be the worst of like a really good group, not that bad.
Not bad. Again, I think this one, of all of them, I'd say this is maybe A- to an A.
Yeah, totally serviceable, and fits within the directive of this movie too. So it still works really well. The next short, moving on, is this one's fucking crazy.
But then, the next one in the list.
Yeah, the next one on the list is Live and Let Dive. So this is the skydiving one.
Now, this one I think might be
This one,
my
your
favorite of the pack.
It was a tough
Stork
it's a tough
is
call.
very good, but I loved this premise. I thought this was such a perfect VHS short.
Yeah, no, I agree. This one, super, super, super original. I would never even like have imagined like this setup for a film.
So we kind of open up. We're on a plane. We're on a plane with like a huge group of friends who are clearly all like adrenaline junkies. They're all here to celebrate their friend's birthday, who is decidedly not an adrenaline junkie.
No, everyone brought this guy skydiving, right?
Yeah.
And he's like,
For his 30th?
Yeah, it's his birthday. They bring him. Essentially force him into skydiving, which is like you need new friends.
Yeah,
You need a new wife. You need new friends, because like skydiving is one of those things where it's like you either like want to do it or it's like a fuck no kind of situation. Like there's no one who's like I don't maybe
Yeah.
you know, like I don't know anybody who's like maybe I do it, maybe I wouldn't. It's like absolutely not, or like fuck yeah, let's go skydiving. And anybody who's like forcing like somebody who's that like what a terrifying thing to be doing. And if you're not like 100% down for it and people are making you do it, you need new friends.
Yeah, guaranteed bad time.
Yeah. Also, this one is directed by Justin Martinez. This is the guy who did one of the shorts from the original VHS movie. So he's actually done the VHS joint before. So he's not.
He has the advantage.
He did. Right. He rolled with advantage on this one. So yeah, the idea is a bunch of people are together. They're going skydiving for their friend's birthday. The one friend doesn't want to go, but he's there, so he's got to suck it up.
And they're not like they're like on a pretty rickety, shitty little skydiving plane. This isn't like
they're crammed in there like sardines, dude.
Yeah. So they're up in the sky and they're just kind of getting ready to jump. They haven't opened the door or anything just yet, but then all of a sudden they spot a straight up fucking UFO in the sky.
Yeah, and like a
it's
flying
broad daylight.
Saucer. Yeah, broad daylight. It's a straight up flying saucer, and they're like, "Oh, yo, look at that!"
Honestly, to me, it kind of looked like that thing they shot down over the Yukon.
Yeah.
Have you seen the pictures of that thing?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So they are filming. The pilot is like, "Whoa, do you see that? There's like a UFO over there." The pilot's like so calm.
Yeah,
it's so funny. And then as they're like shooting footage of this UFO and they're all like freaking out, then some like military planes, like jets, fly by and like start rocking like the plane.
Yeah, I mean they're fucking like skimming right past them, so they're fucking up their like airspace.
Yeah, and basically, you know, so that also all of that terrifying, right?
Terrifying,
really, because you're like me, not the biggest fan of planes. Because you like, not that, I know we do it a lot. We're flying all the time, but it's like you're essentially just like throwing a tube of people through the air, that it doesn't. I don't want it. I get nervous anytime. There's even on like the most calm flight I've ever been on. There's still like I have to watch the stupid like little TVs on the seat to distract myself from the thought of being in the air.
I don't have any flying fears, but I will relent that it is one of those like modern commodities that if you just kind of like peel away the like normalization of it even a little bit, you're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, and it's gotten even worse with all the Boeing shit lately,
Yeah.
Like it used to be like, well, you know what, but it's like safe. Like we fly all the time, the planes are made by people, by experts, like we all, and it's like, well, now they're really not.
No, now all the planes are made by stockholders.
Yeah. Basically what ends up happening is the plane full of these people ends up colliding with the UFO that sort of like just materializes out of thin air. It's been sort of like the UFO's like hopping across the sky, like zipping all over the place.
Which is cool. I'm pretty sure there's a UFO crash in Mexico. It's like right on the border of Mexico where a similar thing happened where like there was just a passenger, like a not a passenger plane, a like a non-commercial, just like small little plane ends up running into a UFO, and it's like a huge cover up where they're like, oh fuck, we gotta go get all those plane parts too, because no one can know this happened.
Yeah, gotta collect all the nuts and bolts. But yeah, so the plane collides directly into this UFO, and
it rips apart like a tin can, dude.
Yeah,
holy shit,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what we fly in.
Oh
it's
my
crazy.
God.
And now you have like the shot of all of these people like falling from the plane and the wreckage. Like you have pieces of plane going all over. People are falling. There's a shot of a guy whose like leg has been cut off, and he's just like going like ah, and he's falling through the air, and blood's like streaking upwards as he's going down, and it's like, oh my God. But as the main guy is falling, he's like trying to get his parachute like open.
The thing about skydiving for the first time is they don't let you do it by yourself.
No, you're strapped to a guy.
You're strapped to another guy who has to pull your chutes.
Yeah. And so he's like screaming because he's like, I can't pull the chute. Like, you have to pull the chute. Also, the camera is catching all of this carnage that's happening. And there's even a shot. He's like a down shot. He's looking down at the ground, and one of his like flight mates like goes zooming by him, but accompanying like this other person is one of these weirdest aliens that you'll ever see.
A real nasty boy,
nasty
alien.
Long boy. This alien is like grabbing at this guy as he's falling. It's like these two bodies flying through the air. This like one long, gross, like fleshy alien. This other guy that he's grabbing onto, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know why they crashed into the UFO. I think the UFO is probably fine, but like this alien is like,
he just hopped out.
He's like, all right, we're
ghost
just
riding the whip, and he's gonna fucking ride that dude down.
Riding the whip. And then it all eventually the guy who has the camera, the parachute does open up, but close enough to the ground that he still hits the ground.
Yeah, it's
hard.
like an automated emergency deploy where it's like, okay, we're determining how far off the ground we are through like electronical devices, and then as soon as it gets to a certain point, it's like, all right, well, the chute's gonna go off now for emergencies.
Yeah, and so he hits the ground pretty hard, and from the camera you see like blood spilling all over the place, and you think like, oh, our guy's like fucked up, but no, what we realize is our dude's not injured. He unfastens himself from his backpack and his partner, and this was like one of the coolest shots of the movie.
Yeah,
the partner's head was torn off by all of the
deploying
the cordage
lines. Yeah,
from the parachute, and so his like head and is like removed from his neck, but his spine is still like all connected, and there's all this just viscera as you have like this extendo neck like wrapped up in all the cordage. It's such a gross shot, but so cool.
It's so good.
It's so good. You're like, oh fuck. But the rest of the short takes place. Also, I was very impressed. Another like setting I've never really seen before. It was just we're in like this orange grove.
Yeah, cool place to set this fucking weird alien encounter.
Yeah, because the rest of it is just the like all of the survivors from the crash kind of like running away from now that they've survived the plane crash and falling out of the sky. Now there's like these aliens that are on the ground hunting them down like velociraptors in the tall grass style.
Yeah,
like coming out of all the orange grove trees. And the aliens are weird again. They're like
so gross.
They're like twice as long as a person. They've got a big bulbous head. Their legs are doing this weird like cricket kind of thing.
Yeah,
where they go
out
like
and around,
they go, like,
and over their backs,
back and up and then down and then out, and they have like these Wolverine like wrist spikes, and they shoot like lasers out of their face that like splits open.
It
and
fillets your face open.
It's so weird,
crazy.
dude. The aliens are so weird. And then it's again, it is a really cool like chase sequence where all of the people are getting picked off by these crazy aliens. The way they attack is like if you've seen Quiet Place, where they move really fast and they come from like off screen and like tackle somebody and they're like all of a sudden that person's not there anymore. That kind of style of like really fast moving. And yeah, I think it ends with like our guy gets like he gets abducted essentially, right? He gets into like a truck and tries to get like saved by a guy, but then one guy's like, "Get out of my fucking truck!"
Yeah, he essentially
like,
jumps
blows
his
hand off
farmer's truck, and the farmer's like, "What the fuck are you doing on my farm? Get the fuck out of here!"
The most like Florida guy response to someone touching their property. But yeah, then our guy gets like abducted, and then he's inside the alien craft, and then that's where the footage cuts out. But yeah, that short's like so good because just setting like a horror story like in the bright light of day, like on an airplane during like a skydiving, like, and then the crashing it like the plane crashing into the UFO is like such a cool event, and like all of the bodies flying out of the air and the aliens skydiving down.
You're taking a scenario that there's
already
one
terrifying.
Scared guy and everyone else is so excited and happy, and then all of a sudden everyone is terrified. It is like a really cool twist. This is like an S tier. This is like an SS tier fucking VHS short. It is so good.
Like this is exactly like what you want and should expect out of these movies. Like this is the quintessential like whoa, it's great idea, great execution, fits perfectly within the small time frame. You don't need any more context.
Nope.
That was the one
originality.
Yeah. That was the one thing about the Stork one where it's like they veered very close to like trying too hard to like build a little backstory, like a backdoor pilot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I see what you're doing. Calm down over there. No, this one was really, really, really good. So moving on to the next one after that is called Fur Babies.
Now
we're
gonna get ahead of this one. I think it's no surprise. Justin Long and his brother are in charge of this one. Yes. Justin Long of Barbarian fame, of Tusk fame.
I was gonna say before he was suckling on the teat of Barbarian, he was
getting turned into a walrus.
He was Mr. Tusk. And it's funny, I read like an interview where between like him and his brother and like I think it was Collider. I think it was good old Perry again. And she was asking them like, what the inspirations were. And like basically Justin Long was like, listen, I know I was in Tusk. It was a big movie for me. I can't get away from it. Essentially he's like if I'm gonna write stuff, we're gonna do body horror, like I can't, like, obviously Tusk is going to come up a little bit. What am I supposed to do?
It is just Tusk for dogs, really.
Yeah, basically, I think I have like so essentially what we have here is a short about a group of people who are doing like sort of vigilante journalism.
Animal activism.
Yeah, vigilante animal activism, where it opens up with like a YouTube video, like a promo for this woman who offers doggy daycare service. But she has like all of these like grossly taxi dogs like on her.
Cartoonishly taxidermy.
They're like so poorly,
they're so bad. They're like the fucking Vice, or like listicle articles of like 10 worst taxidermies you've ever seen.
It's so funny. And so this group of these kids are like, something fucked up is going on, with this lady. She's doing something with these dogs. Like she must be like abusing, something's up. So what we're gonna do is the one guy's like, we're gonna use my dog Pickles, and we're gonna send in you two, and you're gonna go in with a camera, a secret hidden camera in like the doggy bag, and you're gonna find out like what she's up to. And then they bit off a little more than they could chew with this one. Because what we have here is essentially a crossbreed between Howard Howe from Tusk and Annie Wilkes from Misery.
It is the perfect cross section of those two characters.
Yeah, what we have essentially happening here is we have this woman who is taking her dead dogs and exhuming them, taking their brains and putting them in people's bodies and creating these. And that would be one thing to have like just people with dog brains, right?
Gross enough.
But she takes it one step further, and she is like turning people into dogs by like
grafting parts onto them.
Yeah, by like human centipede style, like body morphing them, like grafting. Like there's a scene where like one of the guys, she's like sewn his like fingers to like the palms of his hands so that she can then sew dog pads to like his
closed fists.
His closed. Yeah, she's like removing their bottom jaws to put in like dog
mandibles. It's
them.
Nasty style.
It's some pretty gnarly body horror for a low budget like short film. It really does. It has such Tusk energy. The fact that afterwards we were like, of course Justin Long did this.
Yeah, no surprise.
The one he did.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this just fits into the world of Tusk. Like, could you imagine if like she sees what happens with the Tusk guy and she's like, oh, I could do that with dogs for sure.
Yeah. So basically, what I think the shtick is like, she is like a widow. Like her husband died, and sort of like she has gone like fully into like dog mom brain.
Yeah.
Where she's like just giving herself over completely into like, basically, during the interview I was reading, that was the idea, is like Justin Long and his brother were talking about how they've seen, they see people who are like so obsessed with their dogs, where they'll say things like, I love my dog more than I love people. And they're like, well, what if we just took that and then we like made it sinister,
Yeah.
Because it's already almost there sometimes.
Yes.
Essentially,
it's pretty close.
So that was their whole mindset. They were like, that idea of like someone who's just like, was like so obsessed with their dogs. But I've been in Tusk, so I know what happens when someone's obsessed with an animal. So, and in that same interview, they did say that Annie Wilkes from Misery was like a direct visual and like mental inspiration for this.
If not
character.
Mental, it is 100% a visual inspiration.
They completely were like, listen, channel her, channel Kathy Bates. That's what the directive for this actress was, and she
knocked it out of the park. Yeah,
nails it. She gives that perfect like unassuming lady with just like absolute like barbaric tendencies like behind that veil. She sells it perfectly. I really like this one too. It's also close to favorite. Like all of them are so close in quality.
It's crazy because like for a VHS, this is an A+. If it wasn't, like, if we lived in a world where Tusk didn't exist, this would be like a mind blowing little fucking short. It'd be like, what are they doing? But like we've seen Tusk, so we're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. If Tusk didn't exist, this would be the perfect like backdoor pilot for like
For
a
Tusking,
feature,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you turn this into, honestly, I wouldn't even be that surprised if something like this ended up like
Getting
coming
fully
out,
fleshed
fully
out.
fleshed out.
Pun intended.
You know, because body horror is in, man. It's coming. We're gonna get it. I think after Substance, I think we're gonna start to see a little bit more mainstream body horror happening to this degree. Where
New wave and U wave.
yeah, I will say this is the kind of body horror that gets me the most. So like, you know,
Surgical stuff.
yeah, like stuff like The Substance or you know any Cronenberg movie doesn't scare me. I just like it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's something about like people being like surgically altered in a way that it's like taking somebody's body and changing it in a way that can never be undone. There's something about it, like the
like an irreversible
yeah,
surgery.
like Tusk does it perfect. This movie does it. Human Centipede does
to a
it.
degree, yeah.
That kind of thing where it's like watching people like they know that they're aware that this person is going to like be removing parts of them, and whether or not they're adding new parts and stuff. It's like just the idea of like. Now, like, cause
my body's irreversibly
like different. The girl in this movie, like she now just like, even if I think she died in it, but like if she did survive, now she just has dog jaw forever. Like, what do you even now what, you know?
I mean, you get that replaced. You just take that out. That'll be metal jaw from now on.
I mean, Justin Long just went to the zoo, you know, in Tusk. He just lived. He stayed walrus, you know.
Yikes.
But it's that kind of body horror where it's like a little more grounded, where it's like not like fucking like butts, like heads coming out of butts and stuff. Like that's fun and it's scary and funny and weird. But there's something about like the like very like down to earth like altered body stuff that gives me like the real shivers, you know. So that's why just, you know, I don't care what anybody says. Human Centipede, the first one, that movie rocks, and it's so fucked up and weird. And it gives me the chills every time. It's just because it's like they're just fucked now. Even if they get out of this situation, like now they got fucking their
butthole lips forever.
Butthole lips, and they got walrus jowls and stuff. It's all fucked up, man. It's so creepy. That stuff always gets me. So that's even with the goofy level like turned up to max in this. Like there's one. I'm watching it on the screen behind you right now.
Oh my god, yeah, this shot where it's like a collar cam after he's been turned into a dog and they're just watching him go about his dog day,
just tearing people to pieces and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, so eventually in this short, so we have like the two people who go to do the investigation, right? They get turned into dog people. She has like this just nightmare basement. This Annie Wilkes wannabe where she has like does all her dog surgery. She keeps people in these dog cages and she's like calling them like good boy, good girl. Like she's giving them treats and stuff when they do. It's just like it's fucked up. But then eventually like the rest of like the activist crew shows up and then instantly get like mauled to death. But you know, either way, it's just like it's so it's just so fucked up, and it gave me the heebie-jabbies.
The heebie-jabbis.
I really liked it. Again, it could easily I could make an argument for why that one's my favorite. I can make an argument for why the Live and Let Dive is my favorite, or you know, saying Storks was my favorite. I mean, I think I'll just let it lie on that one, but
I'm kind of
could
surprised.
Easily be convinced.
I'm kind of surprised that the next one is not your favorite, considering all that went into it.
You know what? I think too much for a VHS movie. I'm gonna front load it. I think too much energy, and not enough like fun put into this one for it to work for a VHS movie. So this is the final one, right?
Yes.
So this is the final installment. This is Stowaway is what it's called, and so this one is written by horror powerhouse Mike Flanagan.
Matt's Jesus Christ.
Yes, horror Jesus, Matt's Jesus. Written by him, but directed by Kate Siegel, by his wife.
His
Kate
wife.
Siegel, his wife.
His wife.
His wife. Written by her, and so this is actually her first time directing.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, this is her,
Really?
Yeah, this is her first time directing.
That's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah,
She's been in like
every Mike Flanagan thing. He
Yeah.
puts her in all of it.
But I mean, she's been in like movies and TVs for like a long time.
Yeah, but never directed. This is
That's
her first
impressive.
thing. This is her first time directing. I don't have off the top of my head. I don't have the name of the girl who stars in it. The actress. But if I know Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel, we're gonna see her in every show from now on.
I was about to say she'll be around.
We'll see her again.
I'll find her.
Yeah. So Stowaway is essentially the story of a lone woman in the Mojave Desert,
Yes.
and she is like some sort of like
Joshua Tree.
Yeah, Joshua Tree. She's like some sort of student of science. She's like a researcher. So I don't really know. She essentially is like she's a scientist who is been like laughed out of either school or her work by being like obsessed with aliens, discredited. She's looking for proof, of life beyond the stars, and she's like going through the desert, interviewing people who have claimed to have seen like these specific like lights and sightings and stuff in the desert.
That's Alana Pierce.
Yes. We'll see her in every Mike Flanagan thing from now on. So that's what they like to do. They collect little castaways.
Oh, apparently she did a voice for Cyberpunk 2027.
Wow.
Fun fact.
And yeah, you know what? For me, there's like not a whole lot to this one, and what we do get is, I don't know, it just didn't do all that much for me. I think it was too grand of an idea.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't work that much for me.
I really enjoyed it. I think if we had a little bit more clear cut visuals, like I think kind of in the Stork, it hits that perfect balance of like you have your shaky cam, it's dark, it's spooky, but then also we get enough like spotlight and kind of floodlight off the camera that we're able to see what we're looking at. I think we're losing a lot of the impact of this short because of how dark and kind of like clouded the visuals are. Great premise though, I think.
So we have our main character. She's, traversing her way through the desert. Meanwhile, the camera keeps like, cutting back and forth to like overridden footage of like her birthday when she was like young.
It's her daughter's birthday.
Oh, is it her daughter's birthday?
Yeah, there's a big through line of this, how she's like, I'm gonna fucking nail it big and make this big discovery, and then I'm gonna get back to my daughter and I'm gonna fix everything with my daughter. And she's accidentally taping over her daughter's first birthday. That little like she has this little
T-Rex toy
that like is shown belonged to her daughter, and she keeps like playing with it on camera.
Basically what ends up happening is she does encounter like a UFO in the desert, and she's able to like go inside of it. But it's not even a UFO. It's like remember I made the joke. It's like the sphere from that movie, The Sphere. It like literally looks exact. It's a sphere with like a shimmery gold kind of like outside shell. And it like opens up a little bit, and she's able to go inside. And inside there's like all these what are essentially like terrariums filled with like wildlife from the desert, like spiders and lizards and critters and stuff like that. There's also these weird like strings that are like these like connective strings that run throughout the whole place, but when she like plucks them, they make like this crazy resonance, but it also like cuts her finger.
They're like hyper sharp.
Yeah, and when she cuts her finger, all of these little like nanobots come flying out from all over the ceiling in the ship, and they fly down and they like repair her finger, right?
Yeah, they repair the wound. And
she like hurts herself a couple other times, and each time the nanobots fly down and they fix her, until eventually the alien ship like leaves. It shoots off from like the surface of the planet and like goes like hyperspeed like out into like outer orbit of the Earth.
And earlier in the bit, she was talking about how like it's crazy to like conceptualize like what these UFO ships are allegedly capable of doing, because we are accelerating to light speed and then instantly stopping.
Yeah.
And like the realities of what those physics would
do to a
exert
body.
on a body.
Yeah. Which is very important because eventually she does experience this like, you know, hyper speed, and it fucking annihilates her, right? Because she's like she's not like strapped down into anything. She's just loosey goosey on the ship, right? And so she gets essentially like pancaked and exploded against like the wall of the
smashed
ship
into a million pieces. She gets smashed into like juice, really.
Yeah. And before like she gets turned into paste, there's like you remember we said she had received more injuries during her like exploration of this like little ship. And she determined that like the nanobots were like using other animal DNA to like fix her. So like she like got her like hand repaired, but it started to get all weird, like and clawed and stuff.
She had like talons.
She was getting like lizard or bird talons. But so you're like, oh, okay, so the nanobots are doing something weird with the DNA. I don't know why they're using other creature DNA to do this, but it makes for some cool gross hand, you know, imagery. But yeah, then so eventually she goes like full hyperspeed and gets like smashed against like the wall of the spaceship, because that's what would fucking happen. Because and then the nanobots come down and they like try to fix her, and she gets turned basically into fucking Monstro from the substance.
Yeah, she gets turned into a fucking pile of flesh on the floor that's like groaning and fucking. It's just like there's feathers, there's fucking spider parts. Mm-hmm. She's got like rows and rows and rows of teeth and like, you know, 5 eyes on one side.
And essentially the horror of it all is that like no matter what bad stuff happens to her on this ship, like these nanobots are just gonna come fix her and she'll just never die.
She'll be getting weirder and weirder and weirder every time they fix.
Until who knows?
Until she's a brick of flesh.
Until she just becomes the fucking ship.
That's what I thought was happening. I thought like she was being integrated more and more and assimilated. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is what it is. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying this one's bad. I just think like there's a little bit. It's a little too heady for like 20 minutes. You know, it's a little too much going on. It's the footage. You know, it's found footage, so obviously you can't like show. The whole idea is to not show everything.
Everything, yeah.
But like. Some of what they're trying to convey is heady enough that like you kind of want it to be a little clearer for people to like read it better. And again, there's all this like Mike Flanagan level fucking subtext with like
a lot of talking,
her daughter, and like the past and it connecting to the, you know, but it's like
you get 20 minutes.
It's like, you know, you get 20 minutes. And listen, Flanagan, this is a VHS movie. Like you're thinking in your little Netflix 10 episode headspace. You got to be a little snappier with it. You know what? Hush, perfect idea. Deaf girl, guy shows up, they fight. Easy. You know, you were getting a little too ahead of yourself, I think, with this one.
But still, I'd say
no. It still was really cool.
If you pluck this one out of this VHS Beyond and put it in any other VHS, it would definitely for me be a memorable one. It would be the one that I would go, oh, how about this from that VHS?
Here's the thing. Also, I think it suffers from just its placement in the movie.
Yeah,
I think if you did this one first,
yeah.
You give it like you basically let people come down from it and then into the fun of the rest of the movie. You know, I think to like go from Justin Long's fucking dog one into this, I like it. People aren't going to be in the right headspace for
conflicting tone. You think?
I think what you want is to like slap this maybe in the middle, maybe after Stork or like after the. I mean, I could see maybe wanting to space out the alien stuff a little bit more if you have like a couple that aren't aliens. But I just think leaving this one for last, we're already like, you know, tired and we're like, okay, time for a wind down. And like, you have to like, now we're in like a, you know, a Hill House level. Like, yeah, now I got to think, you know, I think it's just suffers from poor placement in the movie. Maybe they wanted to like end on like the Mike Flanagan bang, the Kate Siegel bang, you know. But again, not bad, and it's not even I can't even say it's the worst one of the bunch.
No.
You know, so it's just not my favorite. I just didn't. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the Lord. I feel like I have to go repent, go to church or something.
I mean, I would have thought
You would have thought this one would be my favorite.
I mean, whatever he put up was going to be your favorite, but
Listen, I'm not.
there's some heaters in here.
You
dude.
got like. I'm not gonna just roll over. You know, and just because he puts out something, I'm able to look at it through a critical lens. But I will say though, for a first time like directorial debut, you know, for Kate Siegel to put this out,
yeah, pretty fucking good.
Really good. She got a good performance out of her like one actress.
Yeah.
And like the effects are cool.
Sick prosthetics.
Yeah, there's cool stuff going on. It's pretty ambitious, I'd say, for a first outing. Really cool. So I would love and would be certainly very interested to see more work behind the camera from Kate Siegel, because I absolutely love her in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So I'm down to see her do more stuff behind it. I might be able to look at the Flanagan family stuff critically, but I'll still watch it all, you know.
Where it's definitely not getting skipped over. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I guess that connects. So that's all of the individual shorts, and then it connects back to at the end of the movie, we get to see the actual
proof 1 and 2
footage, which honestly was like, again, a little bit of a letdown. I was
underwhelming.
Like, oh, okay,
underwhelming by comparison.
But I guess it has to be, because the idea,
you have these great shorts,
which show like definitive proof of aliens in the context of the movie. But the whole thing about this through line story is that like the whole movie, every one of these characters is talking about the validity of this footage. So inherently, the footage that they show us has to be like questionable, you know, right? So it can't be like this clear cut, like, oh, what is it? Has to be aliens or something. So, but the way they do all this like preamble up to it, where they're having you're basically watching YouTube React videos, but without the context, right? Because everyone is like, whoa. Oh, and some people are like, that's fucking aliens. And then the Collider crew is like, it's like, I could CGI that up. Like, I see what they're doing here. So it's all these reaction shots, and you see the footage and you're like, all right. And basically what it is like the footage is of the guy who is supposedly providing us this proof. He's like sleeping in bed, and then like an alien kind of walks into the room, and obviously is a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
But it's like you could be like, well, that's a guy dressed up, or maybe it's an alien. I don't know.
But the big deal about proof 1 and 2 is that there's two perspectives, right?
Yes.
So one camera is filming from the other side of the room, so you get a good like profile of everything. But the other camera is like a head mounted camera on the sleeping guy. And then the alien picks the head camera off the dude's head and like kind of like looks at it up close. We get some good shots of his nasty little alien face. And then he sticks it down the throat of the sleeping man, and we see into his esophagus next to his like I think it's like his epiglottis or something. It's something in your throat that like contracts and expands, which is our title of the abduction adduction. And it's just like this gross thing in your throat that I guess most people are not aware of.
Yeah. I mean, because how often do we see in a throat? Not very often.
Not very often.
But also, that whole thing, I was like, okay. I was like, what is that? Like, why did the alien do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
he's a freaky guy.
Yeah, literally just to like show us something gross was what it felt like. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know if that really shows us, proof. I mean, I guess we saw the alien, but again, it could be.
He does pull a bunch of gross egg
what are
clutches
those? What
out.
is that?
I don't know if it's something that they had deposited there prior and then they pulled out of him.
Oh, yeah, like you think the alien like put the eggs in him during a previous visit, and now he's coming to collect the eggs.
Yep.
Maybe that's what he used the camera for. He's like, I gotta see if there's any more eggs in there.
Maybe
he's looking for more
checking
eggs.
for eggs.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, the payoff there is fine.
It was fine.
It's fine.
It was fine.
Honestly, but you're not. For my money, in any VHS movie, I'm not really in it for the through line story.
No.
You're in it for like the cool individual bits.
I think the bits stick the landing so well in their own right that like
I'll say though the through line story though in this one, the payoff might not be that great, but the connective tissue of it all I think is one of my favorites because they do the whole faux alien. Are Aliens Real TV show thing like so well
yeah.
that it's fun to pop back and see like all of the like conspiracy guys like talking and so it's fun little reprieve in between stories so I think it works really well overall. And then yeah, all of these stories, not a bad one in the bunch, which is usually there's like one kind of stinker.
Usually there's one that's like this one sucks and then there's another one that one's like this one's just kind of boring, but the hits are rolling out with this one, man.
Yeah, I think it might be my favorite VHS one next to the Ratmo one.
Yeah, I think this is going up for second favorite VHS, but easily the most consistent VHS as far as quality and execution of the shorts.
Yeah, some of I think it doesn't hit the highest of highs of the series, but yeah, like you said, across the board. Not a bad one in the bunch. Really, really good. So if you like the VHS movies, or you just like a good anthology film, I mean that you can't go wrong with this one. And not a lot of alien horror coming out.
Yeah, no. We've had a break. We had what?
We had Alien Romulus. But I mean that doesn't even really count for me because it's like such a long-standing like IP that it's like it almost doesn't even.
We had that silent one though. Was that this year or last year?
It was last year.
It was last year?
Yeah.
No One Will Save You?
No One Will Save You. That was last year.
Damn, that was last year? Fuck.
Yeah. This year's been all about pregnancy. Demons.
Yes. Yes. I mean, no surprise.
Yeah, pregnancy and demons. That's all we've had this year for the most part. Not a lot. Yeah, again, aside from Alien Romulus, that's the only like real that I can think of off the top of my head. So really cool to see like a nice sci-fi horror movie and sci-fi anthology. So really what we got was like 5 sci-fi horror movies in this one, which was really cool.
I'll take it.
So now here's my question as we wrap up this episode. What would you do next for if you were in charge of like picking the theme of the next VHS movie?
I think it would just have to be nature stuff. I would love to see either like animal stuff or like give me one where they're out to sea or like underwater or something.
Underwater. But that could work with nature, if you're doing all
that's what I'm saying. I think going on subgenre or theme as far as like settings would be good. I think that'd be interesting. I don't want them to do an internet one.
Oh, like one of those
like don't
unfriended style,
yeah, or like just don't give. I don't want VHS backrooms.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
So like meme.
Yeah, like stay away from the creepy.
Stay away from Slender Man and backrooms and stuff.
Keep it like VHS viral was as close as I think we're gonna get to that.
Oh yeah, they did do one that's similar.
Yeah,
to that.
so like I would like them to steer away from that direction and go like this. Like sci-fi is cool. I can't even think of another like subgenre that would lend itself so well.
Well, you could do like they could go back to the decade idea because we were still there. You can still get video footage from like the 70s. You could do like a 70s one.
Yeah, I guess.
I honestly like. I think you could still do
a Betamax one.
Yes, silent film era.
Shut the
like
fuck
Charlie
up.
Chaplin horror.
Charlie Chaplin horror.
I think if you want to get like really weird with it, which they're certainly not opposed to doing, like do like a time travel one. Do where you're like sending like people get sent like the through line story, right? Like somebody's fucking with like time travel, right? They make a time machine.
That could
be bunch
cool.
of people with cameras get scattered, and then you have a bunch of horror throughout. Like you could have like a body cam in like a medieval horror setting, like where they run into like a vampire's
Ooh,
mansion.
That
or
could be cool as
something, or-
fuck. That way, it's not about getting the weird stuff in front of the camera. It's about getting the camera to the weird stuff.
Yeah,
That could be cool.
I think that could be an interesting one, because I mean, again, you can make up any fucking bullshit you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you get a little bit of sci-fi, yeah, because then you could still do sci-fi stuff too, because if people are like getting scattered through time, you could do a future one. Have somebody running through like this weird like right where robots rule the planet or something.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pitch this out there just so nobody else can make it.
Okay.
Let me see a fucking DB Cooper short.
Oh my
Tell
god!
me what happens when he jumps
when
off
he
that
jumps out the
plane.
plane and
Yeah.
where he lands and
Yeah.
what fucked up shit gets him.
Yeah,
That'd be really. Actually, let's just write that.
let's write that one. TM.
Oh man. Well, yeah. Well, that's the new VHS.
Happy Halloween, everybody. We're getting close.
Happy spooky season.
What do we got for him next week? Do we know?
I don't know. Actually, I forget what's penciled in.
We have it on the calendar, and the calendar's not in front of us.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise for you, or maybe a surprise for us. We don't. We're not sure, so TBD. But you'll probably find out if you go to our social medias or join our Discord or catch us on Twitch, because we usually talk about what we're going to be covering during the week while we're streaming. So if you do want to find out, if you just simply can't wait, come hang out with us. All of the links to all of those things are in the description of this episode, as they are with all of them.
Twitch, we are on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. We've been going a little earlier than usual for the Monday, Wednesday, at least. You've been starting to stream around like 6-ish, if not earlier.
Yeah. I've been
all the way
having
on
some
through
free
midnight.
time. Yeah, I've been having some free time in the afternoons, and I figured why not just hop on early. And now that it's we finished a game recently that was taking us quite some time to beat, but now we're freed up and we're gonna be playing lots of different scary games for the month. We're getting back into our horror roots on the Twitch stream.
Yes.
So
We got a ton of cool little weirdo horror games that you may or may not have ever seen before.
Yeah, definitely tune in, because pretty soon we're gonna be streaming. Specific shout out to this series. It's this video game series called Fears to Fathom that I'm really excited to start playing. And what those are about, they're like little, like quick, like 1-2 hour horror experiences, but they're like first person horror games. Kind of the art style is in the vein of like lo-fi, like low polygon, like PS1 kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of the games are all based around like scary experiences that people who have written into the developers have had, sort of like a Radio Rental, that podcast.
Yep.
Or any sort of like call in and tell us your scary experience type deal. It's all that. So these are like horror games based on like true experiences that people have had, and you just get to play through them and hopefully make the same right decisions that they made to survive this experience.
I'm pumped to see that. I've been playing Made of Scare.
Yeah, Made of Scare.
Made of Scare. Fucking, it's been fun. It's been a weird one.
Yeah,
but
you have
it's
to
been
like
entertaining.
You have to sneak around. There's all these like people who are trying to hunt you, but they can't see, but they can hear really good. So you have to. There's a mechanic in the game to hold your breath and sneak around. It's pretty rad.
It's pretty sick.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, go out there, enjoy the season.
Yes,
as best
go-
you can.
Go buy your very own Lewis from Target. Go go to Home Goods and Home Depot and Lowe's. Get all the different spooky decorations. Get a
Just
giant
don't go to
skeleton or
Michael's.
two.
Don't go to Michael's.
Don't go to Hobby Lobby. They won't have anything anyway because they're scared of witches over there, so can't do it. But yeah, I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
All right, we will catch you next time, everybody. Until then, creep it real.